so it's very exciting to be here with you all. I guess that Jaan is a little bit late, so in a minute we should be live, I guess. Okay. So, welcome everyone. This is our third talk of meeting the directors with the directors of the Green Year sections. So the Green Year section was born in 2012, and it's a section dedicated to the school films and to the first films. So this year, and we decided not to have like competitive section. So the Green Years, it will maintain its commitment, and we have these 4 talks in total with all the directors that will present their films. And very exciting to be here with the 4 of them. And my name is Luca D'Introno. I'm one of the programmer of the Green Year section. And it's a very great honor to have this possibility to chat live with our participants that I will introduce you right now. So we have Jaan Bjarki Magnusson, and with this film Hálfur. We have Leila Basma with her film The Adam Basma Project. We have Federico Cammarata with his film Salvo, and Juan Gonzalez with his film Maria K. So, welcome all of you. We're still waiting for the 5th participant is Jaan Steven with his film For Eunice, who will join us in a minute. And so I want to thank you once again for being here, for accepting our invite to participate to this talk. It's very important for Doclisboa to have you here and have the possibility to chat and talk with you. And so maybe we can start with presenting yourself. And okay, so for instance, Jaan, Jaan, you can introduce yourself. Hi.
Hi. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having this. I really appreciate it, and it's great to be part of Doclisboa this year. So so I will tell you a little bit about the project, I suppose. And myself. So my name is Jaan Bjarki Magnusson, and I come from Iceland, and I've been working in the field of journalism for over a decade. But in 2016, I actually went into a master's program in visual anthropology in Berlin, and this is where I actually did this project that is part of the festival this year, Half Elf. This was my final project in the studies, and it's a film about the synopsis is something like a 99-year-old lighthouse keeper that prepares his own funeral and or 100th birthday. But he is also and was also my grandfather, and so it's a film about my grandparents. And it's a project that I started as a final project in the masters, and but continued working on after that, because I finished in 2018, and after that I continued for one and a half year until this spring when I had the film ready. I don't know if I should say much more at this point. Do you want to hear more about the film, or maybe later on?
Maybe later on. Maybe we introduce ourselves, and then after that we go straight to film.
Thank you.
So, Juan Francisco, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes. Hi everyone. Thanks for the invitation. I am Juan Francisco. I'm from Chile. I live in this moment in France. I make the film Maria K. Maria K is a portrait of the filmmaker Maria Koleva, and I film the universe poetic and cinematography and the life of a militant of the Maria Koleva. She's old filmmaker, France Bulgar, and he keep all the memories in this apartment, and is the meeting with the Maria and me, how I try to control the film. Is that it's difficult. Sorry for my English. I don't speak a lot English, but I tried.
It's okay, we understand. Thank you. So Leila?
Hi, can you hear me? Yes, okay. Hi guys, I'm Leila. I'm from Lebanon. I was living there before I came to Prague to do my master's in FAMU. And my master's is more of fiction kind of directing program. But in our third semester, we had to direct a documentary. And since I always knew that I wanted to make a film about my uncle, I took this as an advantage and made this first short film about him. So yeah.
Yeah. Federico?
Hi everyone, my name is Federico Cammarata. I come from Italy, and I'm currently based in Sicily, and I study at the National Film School, which is the Centro Sperimentale di Cinematografia. And this film I'm presenting this year in Doclisboa is my second year film, and is about a man, and the synopsis says it's about a solitude, and it's I would say is a portrait of a solitude. Is a man I met during the shooting of my first year film, and we became friends, and at some point during the second year I found myself thinking about him, and I decided to just make a film about him.
Okay, thank you, Federico. So all your films have approached in a very different way, but have something in common. We can say that is the portrait, as Federico was talking about, his salvo of a person, and becomes the main character of the film. I think, in my opinion, it's very interesting how you all approach in your personal way this person, and I would like to talk more about how you met this person, how came on your mind to film him. So that was the relationship that you developed with the character of your film. And for instance, Leila, and you don't have like a close relationship with your uncle, I guess. I mean, just because of the distance. Now he's living in Los Angeles, and so if you want to start with your experience and talking about how came in your mind to make a film about your uncle, and
Yes, so I always like, since I was a child, I always knew, like I always was fascinated with his presence in our house and how he was this belly dancer, but like no one spoke about him. Like there was constantly a lot of secrets associated with him, but at the same time he was this like figure of a belly dancer and all of these things. So there was always something inside of me that wanted to know more about him. And then actually in that semester where we had to shoot a documentary, I was stuck in Lebanon because of my visa and like some like bureaucracy, paperwork stuff. And then I started to think about it. I was like, I might use this opportunity to shoot something about him. And so I decided, since I didn't know much about him, I decided to start and find out more things about him through the people who were around me. So like my parents and some of my aunts and uncles who were in the country, and use that to build a portrait of him and sort of communicate this confusion that I grew up with, that was like collecting pieces and like parts and pieces of just what people around me were constantly saying about him, and also the presence of his shows. So yeah, so that was my approach. I wanted to recreate this experience that I had of my relationship with him in a way.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else want to share this experience? Like Jaan?
Yes, thank you. How did it come about? It's Trausti and Hulda were my grandparents, as I said, and when I am actually I had actually, before even starting the program, I had this few years before, I had done a few visits where I had kind of recorded some interviews, etc., on my dictaphone, a little bit of like a journalistic visits in the morning, where I was more kind of prone to collect, their kind of their histories and stuff like that. But what I started to think about in the program, and what started to kind of call me, was this kind of that I wanted to somehow try to portray them in their daily life, not with a major focus on their past histories or anything like that, but to actually try to dwell with them and try to get a feeling of who they are in their everyday life. Because I had this feeling, and I thought that if I would do it properly, but it was also a challenging thing to try to do, was if I would manage to do some kind of an observational film to get a glimpse and to catch some magic that I felt was always there between them. And what was also calling me at this point is that grandfather was 99 when I start filming, and he was very much preparing for his own funeral, as I mentioned before. And there was this 100th birthday coming, so it was also a very specific time point. So I felt that if I would not follow up on this kind of, which was more of a stomach feeling at this point, I would probably never do it. And I decided to use this opportunity as this final project to go in and start this. In the beginning, my grandfather was, as you might see from the film, he's more kind of performative and more on the outside, kind of looking for the attention than grandmother. So it was easier to when I talked to him in the beginning, he was very much accepting and happy that I wanted to do a film about him. My grandmother was a little bit more hesitant in the beginning. She didn't really know like why and what is so special about us, and etc. So it took a little bit longer time to find a way with her, which I feel that happened, but it was a different kind of approach, and so yeah. And what was also very important, because of this kind of this observational bits and pieces and parts of the film that I wanted to try to get, was to stay with them for quite a long period of time, and to just be there with them in their everyday, and to catch the moments of these little quarrels in the kitchen and etc. So it was all that was also always a big part of the kind of idea, was to not just jump in and talk to my grandparents and catch interviews and learn, talk about their past, because not only because I felt like there was something beautiful and special going on in their own life, and there was this special moment, the preparation for the funeral and the birthday, but also because I think very often, at least here in Icelandic society, when the elderly are the focus, it's often very much the focus is on the past. It's on, so because people, of course, have very, very rich histories, and there is so much to talk about, and so this was also a little bit of a challenging thing to decide to skip for me, even about my grandparents. I wanted to tell you so much about all their past histories, but to restrain myself and to focus in this direction was something that I wanted to do from the beginning, and was a little bit of a challenge at the point, but it felt more right the further I went into that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Juan Francisco.
I made this documentary in when I was studying in Atelier Varan. It's a small école, very small school, where teach how to make a film from the practice. It's very important in this school, the practice, not the theory. That is very important for me for make a film very independent, without you script, with not money, with a small camera, and very small keep and budget, because in this moment I think so it's very difficult to find money for make a film, and it's more easy make a film for me with the character. My character, Maria Koleva, is a strong person. Is a very old filmmaker, very with a hard personality.
You can see.
yes. And that's in this film is impossible to make a script. I shoot all the film without your script. Is for that this is important work and very small equipe for me. And I make all the film in 6 days.
What? How many? 6
days. And 1 month with the montage, with the editing. This scope for me is important for that, for make a film very rapid, and close net of the character.
Close to
it's very close of the character, and it's my first film without you it's my first film, not very big production.
Yeah.
After is a very independent film, and Is that?
Thank you. So Federico, you already told us
Yeah.
how did you meet? Did you the protagonist? This is Salvo, no? But I think this is one thing in common with all of your films and the character they are portrayed, because at some point this also looks like they start like a classical, traditional, conventional portrait, but then suddenly they transcend and start approaching very interesting and deep question like death, like loneliness, like mental situation, and affirmation in case of Leila. No? And they become something other, something different, and much deep, and much more deep and more collective. So it's something universal, and they can talk to everyone. And so I would like to talk to you, with you, in this case, about the development that is behind your character, and how did you manage to approach some interesting theme with the characters of your films? If you like to develop this theme, this subject.
Yeah, so for my case, yeah, I would say that to try to make it universal in some way was a key point for me, because I felt when I met my character Salvo that his condition, let's say, his isolation was that I saw in him was more reminded me of something about me, and so I said, okay, if I want to make, I don't want to really portray the real Salvo, but rather I would like to find in him something that would then be kind of a mirror for who sees the film, or at least is what I try to do, and that's why, for example, I decided to deliberately keep out of the film all the informations about his what may be his mental condition, and I decided not to tell that story, but just create an occasion to be close to him and feel what I felt being to him, being next to him, and yeah, to do that was hard because I had to find first my position with him, because we became friends first, and so it was always, I found it always quite hard to step between the role of just his friend and but at the same time the role of the director making a film about him. And so I think the most difficult thing was to sometimes step back from being his friend and then take the camera and film him, and I think that was the most difficult thing. But yeah, for me it was very important to make people who see the film kind of fall in love with him, and then you would feel authorized in a way to be that close to him and to watch him so close.
Yeah. Thank you. Any other, like Leila?
I think in my case, it was a bit more like the themes were a bit more attached to the character himself. Like from the moment you just see my uncle's belly dancing shows, you can imagine, and him being, you know, from Lebanon, from the Middle East, you can imagine that there are a lot of themes that are like dragged with him, which are like acceptance and immigration and family and, you know, like views and point of views and all of these things. So so my way of working was more of letting things be the way they are. I wanted really his shows to speak for who he is, and sort of just sit down with my family members and not manipulate them into saying certain stuff. I just wanted to get like their genuine and most real opinion about him. Yeah, because at the end of the day, I really wanted to build a portrait that might not be him exactly, but just a portrait through their talks of him. You know what I mean? So yeah, so yeah, basically that's it.
Thank you. Maybe Jaan, you can
Yeah.
join us.
Thanks. Yes. Yeah, I think I would definitely agree, for example, with Federico in the sense that, and I think maybe part of what I was saying earlier about the you know, the like not going into too many details. So the details about the past. I mean, so for example, we have the lighthouse in the film. It plays quite a big role. This is where they actually lived for 39 years, where my grandfather was a lighthouse keeper. So, but where we see them in the film, where I'm recording, they're actually living in Reykjavik. But I did not really want to go into the details of telling you all the past story about the lighthouse, but I wanted to interweave it as a part of their life and of their being. So this was something that that I felt was the right thing to do about the lighthouse, and so not go into the specifics of every detail of a life story, but rather touch on kind of strong, important themes that were coming up and that I felt were important. I just a little anecdote with that is that I grew up on the town close to them when I was a kid. So the lighthouse was also a little bit of my second home when I was a child. But yeah, so another thing, because again, I spent a lot of time with them and a lot of things happened throughout the process. And my grandfather got very sick at one point. I was in Berlin, and this was also a very challenging thing to do, is to choose, you know, when to be a filmmaker, when to be a family member, etc. And this was a point where I flew to Iceland to stay with him and grandmother, and I wouldn't really be filming at that time when he was the most sick. I mean, this was just a moment that it just did not feel right to do that. But I did a little bit of that later on, which you can see, of course, in the film. There is a little part where you can see when he gets sick, but I did not do much, and definitely not for that time being when he was really sick. So it was definitely a process and a long journey to go through, and for example, the elf theme that you know the whole film starts to revolve around. This is not something that I start with as an idea in the beginning, but it's something that starts to come up throughout the filming process, and I haven't really wanted to put any words on it, but my grandfather was definitely going through. There were things happening at this point in his life that he was changing a little bit, you know, and so this reaching out to the elves, this kind of reaching out to his old childhood. I started to feel and see that this was very important and the core of that moment, which again was something that I wanted to look into rather than their life story. So that was another thing that started to kind of happen in the process, and that I felt that was the right way and the kind of only way to tell the story of what was happening then through that period when I was with them. So the elf theme, although being very Icelandic folklore stories, it's also very, I feel, you know, it relates to of course folklore all over the world, and this was something that I felt was important, was this kind of mystical aspect, but not make it too specifically Icelandic, or somehow, you know, so that people can relate to it in that sense. But again, that was a thing that my grandfather, let's say 5 years ago, was not so obsessed about elves, and he did not want to change his name to Elf. But this is something that started to happen there, and I had to navigate that and how to tell this in the right way, and again with love, with love of my grandparents, of the characters, and for other people to see it see them with love. I think was very important, and became more and more important throughout the hard times that I went through also as a relative, as a family member, when he got sicker, and he and grandmother had a harder time to talk to each other, because he moved to an elderly home, and he had, yeah, again, I never wanted to pinpoint and to say exactly, but when you get older, you start to lose a little bit of memory, you start to fade away a little bit. So it's a yeah, without saying that in the film, but this was also important for me to somehow portray that journey, if you could say so.
Yeah, but about your film, it's interesting because well, an aspect, the noise just for me as a spectator, but it was like the death itself then suddenly loses importance, and the film started and became like an hymn to the life, you know, a celebration of life, and I thought it is very, very interesting.
Exactly. Thank you. Yes, this is something that I you know that I start to see through the material that I collect, and through the editing, is that yeah, this is what happened, because when I start the project, I am thinking about death and his preparation for death, and I try to make interviews about it, and, you know, grandfather, so what about death? You know, this is like we really need to discuss death, but you know, he didn't, you know, that just happens, you know. So you know, the film was about death in the end, but in a very different way than I maybe pictured in the beginning. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Juan Francisco, do you want to talk a little bit? Maybe Juan Francisco, maybe we have the sound.
Okay, sorry. For me, it's very important to explore an intimate way of filming, and the memory of Maria Koleva is very important. She's a femme filmmaker. She's a femme filmmaker for the people of cinema in France. That is very hard for me when I meet Maria in the protest in Paris. She tell me all the story of this film, and for me it's very hard to know that all the people think all the people maybe think that Maria is a crazy woman, but me, I don't think so. This is a that she's observer of the system of normality, and that is important for me. Is against the system of political of normality, and this is for that I make the film with Maria, and for me is very important to storytell the stories of the person not very important, not the most important person in the life. For me, the character is not the most important filmmaker, the most important person.
We can see Maria in her apartment, surrounded by her memories, by her films, by her inside her own world, personal world, her own world. And then, yes, we can see the other side as well of Maria, the other Maria's side, when she's more politically engaged, when she's walking through the streets in Paris and asked people why they're manifesting, why they're there. So she's not very young, of course, but she's how can I say? She's curious. She's curious. That kind of curiosity that the children have now, and this is very, very, very interesting that she preserved this aspect. Now, so she's curious with life, I guess. I don't know her, but what I thought when I was watching your film, and this part of her personality was very, very interesting. The curiosity, and they make me feel like wanted to watch her films and have the opportunity to watch it because they look very interesting. And if you'll agree, we can talk a little bit about your schools and the producing system, how it works, just to compare. We have here today the opportunity to for you to talk about your school, to compare and your experience, personal experience in school, and the way schools are working with the other representative of other countries. So it's an interesting opportunity. So if you want to, Leila, to start with your school, talking about a little bit.
Yeah, I think this project especially is not the perfect representation of the production process in FAMU. Like, first of all, I was stuck in Lebanon when I made it. So I made the film completely by myself there. I found like a small camcorder and I started filming with it. And I was very free to do whatever I wanted because I wasn't in Prague. But everything that has to do with like post-production was very very smooth. I edited also everything by myself, but then you have they took care of everything that has to do with like sound design and grading and DCP. So that was smooth. It was like everything that I couldn't really handle. But yeah, the production phase itself, I think, was a bit messy in this case because I wasn't in Prague and I did everything by myself.
Okay.
But I don't know if you want to know more about the production, like usually how it happens. Like I can say
it's impressive that you do all by yourself. So congratulations. And then yes, if you want to talk a little bit about the process in your school, we can.
Mm-hmm. I mean, so usually it's great because so I come from Lebanon, where we don't have a lot of like for example, in my bachelor's degree school, when I did audiovisual art, we had to fund our projects by ourselves. And, you know, if you couldn't afford having a little bit of money to like, to make your project, then you had more chances to do something that was not as good as you wanted it to be. So what's good in FAMU is that they give us a budget to start with, which is not a common thing in the Middle East. I know it's something common in Europe, but that was something that I was really happy to have in FAMU. And usually we have like some production supervisors and everything. So for example, for this film, the rights of the archives and everything had to like go through them as well, which is really, I think, is really good, because with festivals and everything, we don't have to like enter some crazy some crazy like problems and stuff like that. Yes, I think, I don't know. I think if other people talk about,
Okay.
I'm trying to find like interesting stuff to talk about
Okay. So,
the production process in FAMU, but yeah, I can't.
Thank you. Federico, what about the Centro Sperimentale?
Yeah. Yes, my case, I think, is quite similar to Leila, because we don't get that much. We don't get money to start. Usually, it's you get basic equipment if you don't have it, and normally the process is that school lasts 3 years, so you are asked usually to make 1 film per year, more or less, and so the whole year would be structured on the first 2 years. You have class at the beginning, and then at some point you start doing research to make your film. But in a way, you always have at some point to fight a bit for your film to make it happen. And I think I'm always quite critic to this, but it's at the same time it's school, because you learn to fight a bit for and
Learning to fight.
Yeah, and so you have to demonstrate your film works, and so you can bring it to the end. And for more technically, in my school, there is this way of doing things which is quite one-man band structured. So you would do everything. So starting from the writing, the shooting, the editing, the sound, even post-production, and so yeah, it's sometimes you can feel alone because you have to do so many things, and it's so hard. And especially I think I do prefer to think cinema still as a collective thing, but I think it works in a way to be completely thrown in the world and say, make a film, see if you can make a film. Yeah.
In Sicily, it's based the documentary department of the Centro Sperimentale, right?
Yes, in Palermo, yes.
Palermo. Then there are other 2, if I'm not wrong.
There is the main branch of the school is in Rome. They do fiction, and they do all the departments of fiction, so cinematography, editing, etc., etc. And yes, there is a school in the north, and they do commercials. Yeah. There is another where they do animation, and the one in Sicily we just do documentaries. Yeah.
Yeah, quite interesting. Thank you, Federico.
Thank you.
Jaan? Jaan, the sound.
Okay, you hear me?
Yeah.
No, yeah. So Freie Universität, of course, is not a film school per se. So, but yeah. So the master's program in visual anthropology was very much grounded in anthropology, and then we did not have much I would say we did not have much access to equipment, etc. I mean, there was a possibility to get, to get something for a loan for a few days, something like this. But just to say that they have moved the program to a different institute, HMKV, and this is where actually I think they have much more. I think they have much more equipment and support in that sense. But at the time when I was studying, there was not much of that. But I would pretty much do most myself with the help of my supervisor, who was very much on the side, ready to help me with everything. And he became assistant, kind of an associate producer of the film in the end. But so it was definitely a kind of a jungle to kind of go in and to start and to see what you can do and to work on it from there. I mean, there was there was no support in the kind of practical things, not much at the moment, but there was this more theoretical kind of grounded theoretical work that we were doing in the school, and then we're kind of take a camera and we're thrown out into the do what you can kind of thing. And but after, as I mentioned before, I finished the program in 2018. But what I did later on is that I actually managed to do a crowdfunding to actually finance the post-production. So that was very good. This is how I actually managed to pay for color correction and for sound work and etc. So it's been a learning curve to actually step into all these different kind of roles, definitely. And but I think maybe this is often the case. I don't know the details, of course, everywhere, but yeah, I mean, you start somewhere, I guess. And but I was actually happy with the the freedom we had and the more kind of very much open approach. We're just taking in a lot of films, ethnographic films that we're watching. We're taking in a lot of theory, and then we're just you just take it into the direction that you feel, that you think, that you where you want to go. And so in that sense, I was very happy with that, and I was happy with kind of this starting point, this starting point of this kind of anthropological outlook. But at the same time, I never felt that it was too, what can you say, like too strict or too conservative, in the sense that you couldn't experiment, or that you couldn't just kind of take it in your own direction. So in that sense, I was happy with it too. Yeah, definitely.
Cool. Thank you. Well, Francisco?
My film is not a very typical film in Atelier Raran. Is for I use the archive filmic, and that is not typical of the school. The school is very one-to-one, is very close-knit between the reality and the life of character, and that is all the film in the school. But for me, this school is very important for to learn how to make a film in loneliness, no, alone. In this school, I learned how to make a film alone, and that is very important for me. How to make a film with my camera. Before I work a lot with a lot of people in the shooting of the film, but in this moment I learned that but it's a small call with a teach the filmmaker, very important for me. It's a traditional school, but you can't to experiment a little bit.
And how did you really met Maria? You didn't know her. You didn't know her films. You didn't know her filmography before meeting her.
Excuse me.
Yeah. How did you met Maria?
How did you met the first one? The first time?
Yes.
Yes. In the I meet Maria in the manifest and in the process of a student in Paris.
Okay.
And in this moment, I find he participate of the manifestation, the protest, and is the she is the very histrionic character, and it's easy speak with she. And it's for that I find Maria.
So you didn't, sorry. So
But
sorry.
all the young people in the protest ignored Maria.
Okay. So that when you met her, you didn't know that she was a director.
No yet. She say I am filmmaker, and the first one, the first moment I hear that, I think it's really she make the films. That is crazy for me. And a woman of the 80 years old in the protest that say that is, and she make a lot of the films with Serge Danet, with the Antoine Vitesse, and big person of the theater in France, and the problem is the films of Maria. They are very very underground films.
Yeah.
Underground that is, in this moment it's impossible to watch this film. Oh, I had okay.
Sorry, I don't know what happened. I was listening. Yes, it's an underground field that she is not well known as a filmmaker, as you were saying.
Yes, it's for that I use the archive of the film of Maria in my film. It's important for to know who is Maria, and this cinema. No, her cinema is very important. Is for that I use this archive.
She looked like she was
Luca, I can hear you. Okay. Okay.
Hi.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yes. It's fine.
Okay. Yes, you can hear me. Yes. And I was saying, she opened your door, the door of her apartment, over her own world, and then showing you around about.
Hello guys, you're there?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm Bruno from the back office. Luke is having some network problems. Give us
Yeah.
just 2 or 3 minutes to see if you can manage this,
Okay.
and to see if we can put him back talking with you. I'm
Okay.
gonna call him by phone. So excuse me for a moment.
Okay. I'm sorry. It's my Wi-Fi, I guess. Okay, I was saying that that she opened the door of her apartment and of her work and word, sorry, and she looked like your friend. So you became like you developed.
Hi guys again. Sorry for this technical problems. Let me see with Luca once again if he can manage to connect himself again. So once again, I ask you for another 1 minute or 2 minutes to see if I can call him.
Okay.
Excuse me. Thank you. Thank you.
Maybe John, you can say what think your family about this film.
Yes. So we finally managed to have actually a screening in a cinema here the other day. There was a Icelandic documentary film festival, and so the siblings came all for the screening, and they were just really. It was super super nice to have them there, and they were very touched by it, I have to say, and they were very much happy, and they were all very supportive throughout the making of the film. Yeah, so it was quite special to finally manage to have a cinema screening, because you know. Yeah.
And how about the others? Did you have the opportunity to show it?
Yes, I showed the film in 2 places.
Okay.
And it's very good to show the film in the in the Salto cinema for and hear the opinion of the different person. In Paris, Maria is a very big character. She participate of the protest of the Gilets Jaunes, and is for that this she is very important, but not for the cinema, for the for the protest more.
More than
Well, Luca has some problems again. So I don't know if you guys want to make some questions to each other. If you have curiosity of other people's films or how they did it. So please be our guest to do it. And in the meanwhile, I'll try to manage with Luca once again. So excuse us.
Yeah, I take the occasion to ask Juan. I was very curious watching your film yesterday about your relation when you met her and you asked her if you could make a film about her. Then how was it to actually find yourself in her house and having this kind of fight, because we see a few times she almost wants to make her the film. She tells you what to film actually, and if you could discuss just a bit about that, I was curious.
For me, is something very difficult for how I try to control the film. Maria is a character very performatic, and in the moment of the I shoot the film, I see that and utilize that for the film. The performatic way of Maria, and that is important for the film. It's a structure of the film, the performatic way of Maria, and to show the moment, not very typical moment of the film, to show the how I create this film. That is important for to say the closeness between the reality and the life of a character. It's difficult to speak, but for me it's very important to sincerity of in this film, to make a film sincerity. It's for that I make very the shoot very unique film, uniter plan no, plan the uniter shoot. I don't utilize a lot other image for complete the scene. Is the moment unique. It's very it's direct cinema.
Anyone else want to share his experience?
Federico, in your film, you utilize a lot. It's not digital film. It's analogic film. You can to say what camera you utilize, why you utilize the analogic film. That is very difficult in this moment.
Yeah, no, and actually, it is digital, actually, and it's. I kind of cheated. I pretended it was shot on film. That because, well, the choice I made, I'd like to shoot film, but of course, I had no chance to. The decision I made with Salvo was that I wanted to shoot him with quite a tight format, which is the 4/3. And that choice was because I wanted to, like, just as his birds, put him in a cage, and that was just my formal artistic choice to represent him. And then I don't know, in the post production, I just felt that the more I don't know, organic way to then have the final image was to go in towards a more filmic look. But that is just my desire to shoot film, but I haven't had the chance yet.
Yes, actually, Federico, when I was watching it, I was when I saw that it was like 16, I thought it was 16 millimeter at the beginning, and I thought like it was such an amazing experience to shoot like a documentary on 16, because it's really hard to like just have roll, and the whole film is just you observing him. So I thought like, wow. But still, like, I had some doubts that it was digital at one point, but I'm still very curious how you made that effect. Like, did you color grade it yourself, or did you work with someone?
Yes, we do have teachers following us, but I did color grade it myself. And to obtain that, basically, yes, I use digital camera, but I work with lenses that are designed for, very old lenses designed for film, and at the same time, I kind of I do photography in analog, so I kind of try to put myself pretending I was shooting film. So, for example, the length of the footage is very restricted, because I would try to just shoot as I was on film, just really short moments, and really pick the moments that I felt they were the right ones. And then, since I pretended the whole time I was shooting film, then I decided to go for that look. But and yeah, I did it myself. It's yeah, it's quite hard, but I don't know, I learned it myself. I experimented a bit.
It looks great.
Thank you.
Well, since this film, I was trying to say before the Wi-Fi problem with my Wi-Fi connection. These films are your beginning of your journey, the personal journey. So I'm just curious about your project. So your next future project. So if you have, and I would like to hear a little bit about it. We can start. Yeah.
I can, yeah. Actually, I'm like, when I started making this film, I always knew that I wanted to actually meet my uncle and make it into like a real film. So, so when I was stuck in Lebanon, I decided to also take advantage of my short documentary class in FAMU and make a proof of concept, which is this short film. And now I'm expanding it into a feature. So yeah, so my next project is going to be like the same theme and same story and same characters, but develop it into a feature. And in the meantime, here in FAMU, I have 2 more shorts that I need to direct, but fiction. Mm-hmm. So yes, these are my plans.
So are you going to shoot it, the fictional version if I can call
No. The feature will be a feature documentary, but it's an independent project that I'm developing now with my with producers. Yeah.
Okay. And Jaan?
Yes. Well, at the moment, it's what I can say is that it's been a kind of quite of a journey, just kind of finalizing this and just to try to get it out there. So I've been kind of working on trying to do that. So this is kind of where I'm at. I have some ideas for a next project, but nothing I have actually, really decided upon. I'm not exactly sure where I would go next, but yeah. So, and I also want just to have the time to, let's say, to land, to just kind of find a little bit of a ground after this journey. It's also a kind of a final goodbye. I mean, my grandmother passed away this last spring, and because of COVID, I was in Berlin. I couldn't even come and attend her funeral. So for me to kind of finish and get the film out there and is a kind of an end of a journey. So I'm giving myself the time to do that and to find where I stand for a next project. So I'm allowing myself to just to think about it for now. We are in Iceland because we still, even though we filmed, even though we screened it at the Icelandic Documentary Film Festival, the cinemas were pretty much, they opened and then they were closed again because of COVID. So we're still waiting to have that kind of premiere for family, the bigger family members, etc. So we're kind of, we're staying in a summer house and we're hoping and waiting that we can have that at some point, but we'll have to see. So at the same time, I think about other possible projects, but nothing in hand. Yeah.
Okay.
It's difficult in this moment. I think in the future, but in this moment I make a film about the street artist. His name is Alejandro Gonzalez, and it's a film about the present of Mono González. And the conflict in Chile, the conflict, political conflict and social conflict, and it's a film. I am interested in exploring the utopia of this artist. He make the big murals, very political murals. He was participate of the time of Allende. He make the mural, very political murals. In this moment, he is very old person, and he continued to in this way, and for me is a very important artist in Chile. Is for that I work with he, and is for me it's very important to show the art of this artist and the conflict in Chile, to speak about this conflict. and this is a feature film. Maybe the next year I should, but I don't know. It's complicated in this moment. I live in France. It's not easy. Shoot in Chile.
Thank you, Federico.
Yeah, in my case, right now I'm finishing my film school. So I just luckily I managed to shoot. I just finished shooting of my diploma film, my last film, before they would start closing stuff again. So right now I'm in the beginning of the editing. So I consider myself quite lucky for the moment, and this is going to be a feature film, and yeah, for what future means now, I have lots of ideas. The film I wrote, this diploma film, is it's very big, so I started to divide it in maybe more thinking and develop it as more projects. So the idea is to finish this film, finish school, and then maybe see if I can bring it forward, and basically looking for funds and collaborators that might want to make it become reality. And yeah.
Okay, thank you. So anyone else want to add and share any other thoughts, experience? Otherwise, thank you for being here. Thank you very much. Really, I'm looking forward to watch your next films. And congratulations. And
thank you.
See you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you very much. It was really nice.
So it's really nice, a real pleasure to have this opportunity to talk with you guys.
It was also great to meet you all.
Yeah,
you too.
Hope you get in touch. Okay, so bye-bye. See you. Thank you.
Bye.